Thanks for staying, and you'll find it well worth it. This is our last part of this session, and one of the favorites always. It's great to have Don Taylor here. Don is, among many things, the chair of Learning Technologies, the conference every year in London. Twice, really, right? Twice counting the summer event, right? Yeah, okay. Twice a year in London. And he's going to share with us the preliminary results of a major survey that he does every year on L&D, in this case 2023, the hype and the happening. You can hear what's going on. So please help me welcome Don Taylor.
Hey. David, thank you very much. Always a pleasure to see David again. Always a pleasure to be back in Paris. I'm a great believer in working with the audience and getting feedback. I'm going to ask some questions. It is a bit noisy, but David, hopefully we can run around, get the microphone moving. First important question. We're going to run a poll right now. Now, I like wearing a tie. I feel comfortable wearing a tie, but it may make you feel uncomfortable. So we're going to ask, should the tie stay on or off? All right, on or off? Now, look, we got a strong vote here. Straight away, doesn't like the tie. All right, so if the tie should come off, you can raise your hand, please. Off. Okay, I think that's 51.4%. It stops at the tie, just to be clear. It's not even 4 o'clock yet. Anyway, let's press on. Right, so my name is Donald Taylor. I've been in the learning and development field and the technology field since I started programming computers in 1981, started doing face-to-face training in 1980-something. I've done everything you can do pretty much in this field, and my mission now is to try to understand what's happening in our field together and to try to spread good information and good practice so we can all get better at helping people learn. That's what I try to do. I do it through running the Learning Technologies Conference in London twice a year, and also other things, working with startups, a lot of speaking and writing. Okay. What we're talking about here is the Global Sentiment Survey that I run every year. This is the 10th year of the survey. I'll explain about that in a minute. These are the preliminary figures. I had hoped to do the first unveiling. It's almost finished. The problem is the way Chinese New Year fell this year, it fell right in the middle of voting. And so I've had to push back the voting. So about another few hundred votes are going to come in. So that's why I say preliminary figures. But I'm pretty confident these are not going to change a lot. Okay, wrong one. So let's move on. A thank you to the partners and the sponsors who make this possible. They're the people who actually make it possible for me to get the reach that I get on the conference. Okay. This survey asks one obligatory, very simple question. And by all means, by the way, take photographs, no problem, by all means. There is a URL at the end where you can download the whole deck, okay? So take them and also download. There are 3 questions. There is one obligatory question. That question is this one here. I'm going to ask you about that question in a second. But just the detail, this is the 10th year of the survey. I ask people to choose from a list of 15 things, and they can suggest something else. And we've had about 4,000 voters, 3,750 this morning, from about 100 countries. I'll tell you exactly how many at the end of next week. Now, this question, what will be hot? Just to be very clear, I don't define what the word hot means. I don't define any of the terms that I give people. I could do, but the reality is if I defined the word, oh, by the way, hot means this, nobody's going to read the definition. They're just going to go straight through the survey. So I'd rather be realistic and say, honestly, I don't know. I don't know what's in people's heads when they answer this question. However, year after year after year, we get consistent results from different geographies with the same things and the same trends happening. And that tells me that people are looking at this question in the same way each year. All right, so here are, I said I give people a list of things, all right? A list of 15 things. Hopefully you can read that. The metaverse, The metaverse has a star next to it. That was new this year. I'll get out of the way of all the photographs. Okay, I want to ask you very quickly, I want to turn to the person next to you. What do you think is the number one thing this year that's going to be hot, right? Just turn to the person next to you, 30 seconds. What do you think's going to be hot this year? Go on. In a minute, obviously, I'm going to ask you for your opinion, so get ready to express what you think and why. All right. Okay, big drum roll. David, we might need the microphone. Okay. All right. So what I love about asking a crowd of learning people to chat about something is they start chatting and they don't stop. It just keeps going. It keeps going. So if you don't have enough material, just ask a question and that's it. You're done. Now we've got to stop now. Right? Does anybody want to share what their thoughts are? Everyone's talking. Yes, go ahead. Go on, quickly. All right, use mine.
I think one of them, well, we got two options here. We got metaverse and reskilling and upskilling. Reskilling, upskilling.
Okay, so from the front row, metaverse and then reskilling, upskilling, yes.
I think OpenAI, artificial intelligence.
Okay. Artificial intelligence. And this side of the room, honestly, they're on fire. Yeah, here we go.
I'll go for skills-based talent management.
We've got a good crowd in here. A lot of winners here, and one loser from those four. Skills-based talent management, AI, reskilling, upskilling.
Mobile delivery so that I can get trained on the beach.
Mobile delivery so you can get trained on the beach. I think we can all sympathize with that. All right, let's see what the answers were. I'm going to show you a table. The table has the answers for the people who voted internationally. It has a column of arrows that tell you did it go up or down since last year. It also has numbers in brackets. The numbers tell you which position was this last year. All right, I love this. Everyone's ready with their cameras. What's going to come? Ta-da! Nobody has seen this before. You are the first people in the world to see these results. I'm excited. They are preliminary figures. So check it out. Reskilling, upskilling, yes. Artificial intelligence, yes. Skills-based talent management, yes. Oh, sorry, who said metaverse? Yeah. What happened to metaverse and mobile delivery? All right, now look, what does this question mean? I asked at the beginning, I said I don't define the question. If something is not hot, it doesn't mean it isn't important. It just means it's not new and exciting. We know everybody looks at their phone all the time. Obviously, mobile delivery is important. I keep it on the list because it's still really important, particularly in Africa. I'll show you in a minute how mobile delivery has declined year on year since I've run the survey. It doesn't mean it's not important, but it's just not hot. So the hot stuff is the stuff people are really excited about. Right, what I want to do is look at the results. I want to look at the bottom of the table. I want to look at the top of the table. I want to look at what the trends year on year tell us. And I want to ask some questions about what this means for us in learning and development and how we get things on board. Why do we get excited about some things? All right, let's go on a journey. Let's start off at the bottom of the table, the relegation zone, if you're a soccer fan. Right. I've done this presentation or presentations like it so much, I know that very often you've just got to make it really big. We'll look at VR and AR in a minute. Again, because it's low down doesn't mean it's not important. People are using this stuff for sure. The metaverse, that's my bad. Normally, when I choose, each year I take one thing off the list, I put one thing on the list. The metaverse was my choice for this year. I thought, that's going places. People are going to vote for the metaverse. It goes to show, after 40 years in learning and development, you can still know absolutely nothing. Normally, the average is they come in at 7.2%. This scored 2.5%. If I had put this in last year, undoubtedly it would have been successful. I didn't. Mobile delivery. Let's have a look at mobile delivery. When I first ran the survey, mobile delivery was the very first option. It was the top one. It was so exciting. I remember doing learning technologies back in 2007. People wanted to hear all about mobile delivery. I could not find case studies. Can you believe it? I couldn't find a single case study on it. You can see what's happened, right? This is the exact normal pattern for something on the survey. People start off excited and they get less excited. They get less excited for two reasons. With mobile delivery, it's not exciting because, well, we do it now. It's gone from the latest thing to business as usual. The same pattern could be followed by curation, for example. It starts off very popular and it sank. But curation is not something that everybody's doing. So the difference is something can sink down because it's become regular practice, or because it's just a bit too difficult and, well, we're not doing it, but there's something else that's exciting. So with mobile delivery, it's very much that this is regular practice. All right. Now I want to show you two other options and ask you what happens next. Now, mobile delivery has been on here since the beginning, right? But usually what happens is I put something onto the survey. I try to pick things which are going to be exciting. So I put something on, people get more excited, and then the excitement dies away. All right. What do you think happens here to the two lines? We've got a blue line, we've got an orange line, we've got VR and AI. They are at exactly the same point for 2 years. What happens next? Anybody? Go on. AI up, VR down. Do you agree? Well, I've actually already shown you the answers, so if you didn't agree, there'd be something wrong. But thank you for paying attention. Thank you. Yeah, that's what happens. This is mad, okay? I've never seen it being quite as dramatic as this. AI shot up 4.5% this year. Why? Why is AI suddenly so hot? Anybody? You can say it in 4 syllables, exactly, yes. Chat GPT. We all use AI all the time. We use algorithms as part of our lives. But suddenly, in the past 2 months, it's become in your face. Everybody's talking about it. This is the point where I want to ask a question about how do we get our ideas about what's good and how do we react to it? So, example, Sweden always votes for collaborative learning. That is always top of the table. But not last year. Last year, top of the table was reskilling and upskilling, massively top of the table. Why? I run the survey in December and January. In August, a book came out by Per Lager, and the title was Reskill or Upskill. Yeah, I don't need to translate that for you, right? It was all over Sweden. Everyone was talking about it. The learning and development people were absorbed in the book, and it affected their voting. It doesn't mean reskilling and upskilling isn't important, but it does mean that when we see something, when we are surrounded by the words, it affects us. 2015, everyone was talking about micro-learning in the States. A lot of money went into startups. The money went into startups so that they could do a lot of money marketing. 2016, micro-learning was absolutely at the top of the table for the US. Not for anybody else. 2017, well, the US wasn't so bothered about micro-learning, but it was on the top for everybody else. It's the old story. America sneezes, the rest of the world catches a cold. And we see this again and again. Something happens somewhere and it spreads out and then dies away. It doesn't mean microlearning isn't valid, but it's an illustration of the pattern of behavior. So, what do you think is happening with AI? I don't know the answer. What do you think is happening with the AI? Is this just, oh my God, GPT, I'm going to vote for AI? Or is there something behind it? Is there something more? Okay, so do we think AI is going to continue to be an important part of L&D, or do we think it's going to be what in English a flash in the pan? Do we think that next year there'll be something new? So AI, will it stay or will it go in L&D? All right. Do you think AI will stay? Okay, a lot of strong votes. Anybody brave enough to say AI will go? A few hands just go very up and down quickly. All opinions are valid, and also context is crucial. It may be one thing for one person, it might be absolutely right for you. My own view is that AI is going to stick around. And I'll tell you why. Because in the voting, it's not just artificial intelligence which has had the uplift this year. If we look at the top of the table, AI did this enormous jump from 12 up to 2, but also skills-based talent management and learning analytics, both of which rely on large amounts of data and being able to analyze it, and probably could use some AI, they came up as well. So I think what we're seeing is a return actually to 2020. I was foolish enough in 2020 in my report to say, hey, learning and development is finally grasping data, because then we did. Then we had the pandemic, and all the survey reflected was, I want to talk to people. So the survey was all about collaboration, about social learning, about coaching and mentoring. This year, those things are down, and we have returned to the pre-pandemic world of wanting more data and analysis and probably AI in our lives. Okay, just 1 second. Does anybody else have this issue that you get really dry when you speak? Yeah. I don't normally drink from a bottle, and it's very, I wear a tie, for goodness sake. You can't imagine I drink from a bottle. Just forget I did that, okay? Right, let's move on. I want to talk about this business, about the geographical differences of the world here. On the table it says, reskilling, upskilling, 12.2%. That is an average of 3,758 people, or whatever, right? Let's look at how that spreads out across the 8 areas of the world that I look at. That's the vote for reskilling and upskilling in the 8 different geographies. Now, remember what I said earlier about how microlearning started in the US and then spread across the world, then died away. I think it's really interesting that North America has almost the lowest vote for AI on there. It's only South America that's lower. This vote here, so the vote over in what's called East Asia, that is dominated by Malaysia. They've got a huge interest at the moment in reskilling, upskilling. Don't know why. I'll find out. One of the great things about doing this survey is I get all these questions. Why is that number so big? I go and speak to people. I get great answers. I learn more about the world. It feeds my curiosity. Notice also the South Americans are really not interested in AI. They never have been. What's number 1 for Brazil? Because Brazil dominates this. What's number 1 for Brazil? Anybody? Collaboration and social learning. Every year, consistently, that's what they go for. I fight my prejudice that says, it's a cultural thing. But having talked to the Brazilians about it, I don't think it is my prejudice. I think it's just the real truth. I think it's a naturally collaborative environment. And time and again, collaboration comes first. What about AI? How do the Brazilians feel about AI? Let's check it out. Even less enthusiastic than reskilling and upskilling. What's massively interesting for me is the huge interest in, this is effectively Turkey and Israel driving up the vote for artificial intelligence. Go figure. I could play with these numbers all day. I love this stuff. Let's move on though to something that might be of interest to you guys. we've talked about the natural pattern of things going down on the survey year after year. That's true for almost everything, but not quite everything. There are two options which have resolutely stayed in the middle ever since they've come on. So 2016 through to 2023, this is what I call the impact duo. These two options, showing value and consulting with the business, are not about learning, they're not about technology, they're about showing that learning and development does stuff. The weird thing is they don't have that downward slope. They're consistently in the middle. Not only that, over on the left-hand side, they're up and down a bit. Around 2019, they settle out about 5.5%. By 2023, they're about 6.5%. There's a slow upward trend here. Of all the data that I look at, this gives me the greatest hope for our profession. This tells me that we care about making a difference in the business. That's good news. Right. Who here is from France? Don't do that. Yeah, oui, je suis français. Let's get the hands in the air. Okay. Thank you for coming and listening to my appalling English. Let's have a look at the French results very quickly. By the way, sorry, if you're a soccer fan and you're French, I've got to say, what a World Cup final. I'm sorry. And Mbappe should have, I don't know. That goal was just amazing. Anyway, right, that's France, and this is the world without the French results, okay? There's a lot of data there. I want to just draw your attention to two or three things. Firstly, at the top, we've got AI and personalization, and they are much higher. There's a big jump from 9.2 to 12.1 from 7.3. This may be a sampling issue. This may be a sampling issue. Maybe we've got a small number, 115 people who are very focused on one thing. But it looks to me like the population we have here are very interested in personalizing, based on AI, the delivery of content to people. And that becomes even more apparent when you look at skills-based talent management. It looks to me like they're looking at the individual delivery of content to people, but less concerned about what this means for the business as a whole. Because this thing here, by the way, with the French survey is done in French, so there isn't a translation issue. Well, there isn't a comprehension issue. There may be a translation issue. This one here is about organizations understanding the talent they have. It may be that, well, it looks to me like the French results show that we've got a great interest in individual delivery of content, but not a great interest in tying that to the needs of the business. I'm going to move on very quickly. The other thing which this shows to me is that perhaps lack of interest with what's happening in the business seems to be shown by these results here. We just saw with that lines, those horizontal lines, that the world generally is interested in impact and showing value, but it seems that's less important in France than it is in the rest of the world. We're wrapping up now at 5.2. I'm going to go to the now traditional QR codes. There we go. That's me on LinkedIn, and that's the slides. It's really boring. If you click that one there, it should take you through to my website, to a private page, and you should just be able to download the PDF, okay? And that's me if you want to follow me for more stuff like this. You know what? When you finish a presentation these days and you put your LinkedIn slides up, everyone does their camera, I feel a bit sort of, not exactly intimidated, but it's a bit like I'm going to an awards ceremony. I've stepped out of my limo and suddenly all the cameras are going off. Okay, we've got 4 minutes. Any questions? David, are you ready? I know it's a lot of data, but we'll have one question. Go ahead.
How did you translate hot in French?
Okay, I don't know. I didn't do the translation. I'm sorry. I think the phrase was selon vos que sont les plus importants? So I think it was important. Okay. So naughty. Yes, we've got a serious question from this gentleman here. Yeah. Thank you, Vicky.
Does the survey include exclusively corporate training, or does it include educational?
Okay, this is a really good question. Who answers the survey, right? Now, there's an optional question, and I didn't go into it because I just wanted to get through the stuff. There is one optional question, where do you work? About 80% of people answer that. Of that, half the people, it's almost exactly 50% of people, say they work in a learning and development environment in a corporate space, and about 13% of people are in education. So, and the rest they work for vendors or they're freelancers. Great question, thank you. I should have said that, I just wanted to get through stuff. Okay, yes.
Hi, so quick question. In your survey, you have like a mix of means and
Yes.
goals.
Yes.
Is that on purpose? Because you could have like a reskilling and upskilling through AR and VR.
Yeah. It's a great question. This is a weird mixture of stuff, Don. Right? I've got apples and oranges in English. Apples, oranges, pears, potatoes. Right? It's a bunch of stuff you can't really compare with each other, and it's deliberate. It's deliberate because what I'm looking for is not a methodology, a technology. What I'm looking for is what's in people's minds. What are they concerned about? But you're absolutely right. The whole thing could be about how you do reskilling, upskilling. And to be honest, because our job is reskilling, upskilling, that's kind of why it's dominated the tables. We'll see what happens next year. I'm not sure it's going to stick around. I think that's it. We're 1 minute to. I'm going to wrap up there. I want to say thank you very much. Merci à tous. I hope to see you next year.